As a travel lover and a huge advocate for travel, I have to check myself sometimes. This is Karima from Hijabiglobetrotter. As much as I love every one of you to travel and live your passion, the reality is that not everyone is able to travel with ease, at least. And that's because not all passports are created equal. Certain passports carry more weight than others. For example, if you own a Japanese passport, you are able to travel to 191 countries around the world without applying for a visa. To put things in perspective, there are 195 countries around the world. Other powerful passports are Singaporean passports, South Korean passports, German passports, Italian passport, Finnish passport, Spanish passport, Swedish passport, French passport, and United States falls as the 8th powerful passport in 2020, which allows you to travel to 184 countries around the world without a visa. Whereas if you own a passport from, say, Iraq, Pakistan, Afghanistan, or Nepal, you're limited to less than 40 countries around the world. I once interviewed a passport holder from Iraq. Her name was Zina. Her goal was to visit as many countries as she could with her Iraqi passport. Her journey highlighted the hurdles, challenges, and sometimes victories she encountered while attempting to achieve this goal. You can click on the link in my comment section to see the full story. There are many individuals like Zina who experience this every day. In addition to the limited number of countries these individuals with weak passports have access to, not many talk about the emotional duress, limited opportunities that they could have, and even like the prejudice that they could go through just because of the passports they have. In addition to that, if you're a Muslim with a weak passport and you're trying to travel, there's an extra challenge that also comes in addition to all the other factors that I did mention. I saw the glimpse of this kind of scenario when I was in Peru. Although I really loved my experience in Peru, something I didn't really talk about was my experience in the airport in Lima. Lima's airport is not very big, although it's an international airport, and personally they were not very organized for an international airport standard. And one of the things that they did, the employees there, was that they weren't on time, so like we had to board our flight at a certain time to go back to US, and they literally came, opened they opened the gates like 5 minutes late, which, you know, I was freaking out and all. So I was obviously not the only person freaking out. Other people were freaking out, and like, you know, the employees did not really apologize to people. They were kind of rude and dismissive, even to their locals, like fellow Peruvians as well. And of course when they saw me, and they were kind of like, who's this girl, like, you know, there was this kind of attitude I got from them. And like my sister and I were trying to ask them questions like, what's going on, like where's our gates or flights. They weren't really answering us. They were kind of like, you know, you need to get back in line, and you know, you have to go back, like, you know, they were just not really paying attention to us. But then when like we had to like show them our documents, like we're like, hey, this is my flight, and they saw like our passports were American passports, their demeanor changed entirely. Like they were more responsive, they were just like more apologetic and like even polite, which was just very irritating to me personally, because, you know, and people see, you know, the first thing people see when they see me is like as a Muslim, hijabi, you know, and they're already like having all these preconceived notions. So like, you know, I feel like I get to experience both sides of the coins when it comes to this situation. So I get to experience what it's like to be sometimes prejudged, and also I get to have a little bit of privilege just because of the passports I hold or where I'm from, as well. You know, in a perfect world, of course, because the world is not perfect, and what it should be is that everyone should be treated equally regardless of what your nationality or what passports you have. It should be simple, but it's not, unfortunately. Another example of such an experience that I've seen with like having different passports and the way people are treated is, for example, when I lived in Spain. I lived there for 2 years, and every time I go to work, there was this Nigerian guy that always stood in front of the neighborhood Carrefour, and every time I would just say hello to him, and he always responded to me with "Buenos dias, my sister." So, you know, I usually gave him what I could, you know, like money, food, whatever, because you know I just wanted to. And you know, every time I saw him, it kind of got me thinking that, you know, what I do in Spain is not something that he cannot do himself. Like, he's from Nigeria, just like my family and I, and like just because like I have two dual nationality, it kind of gives me an upper an advantage over him, just because he comes from a country which people don't think of as developed or can even speak English, which is ironic, because if you just take one Google search on what is the official language of Nigeria, you'll find out that it is English. So yeah, so just because of his nationality, he can't be earning the same amount as I do, even though he has the same skill as I do. What I've come to realize while teaching for all these years, especially teaching abroad, is that teaching abroad is not mostly about your skills. It's more political, more so what is important is your skin color, your nationality, and the accent. I'm not going to delve into that right now. That will be a topic for another discussion where I can elaborate more on that. But yeah, so this is another example that I've seen firsthand of basically passport discrimination and things that people do experience just because of the passport they have and the nationality they carry. So there you have it. Although it's awkward to talk about, it's something that I feel like is important to acknowledge as a traveler, as a content creator. What can I do about it? Basically not to make generalized statements, because when I do speak about travel, I have to acknowledge and you know, emphasize that I'm coming from an American perspective. For example, if I say Spain is a very cheap destination, it might not be cheap for someone in India or China or South Africa, for example. So these kind of things are something I feel like I should be more conscious about, and also to acknowledge I don't have all the information, and to share stories of people that are also paving the ways in travel. Travel is not equal. Access to travel is not equal. It's not something that I can control right now. It's something that is a collective thing, and eventually hopefully it will be accessible for everyone. But what I can do right now is basically highlight travelers that are paving the way despite the hurdles they face. So if you want to know more about travelers like these, check the comment section below. I did highlight some travelers that do travel with passports that are not considered strong, but they make their dream come true. All right, that's that for now. I hope you did enjoy this discussion. If you do have more to add and like things that you would like to discuss about, or even if you have an experience when it comes to passport privilege, or your experience having a certain passport, please feel free to comment down in the section below. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye. Hasta luego.